Well, let me just say that last night I couldn't sleep. I had things on my mind I wanted to say, and because I realize now that I'm making these little chats primarily for, it started out for me, and I couldn't think in terms of me for more than a second or two, and then I started thinking about actually, each one of my grandchildren. Each one of you, my grandchildren, and then of course, like I said, I may share a link to these where I'm putting these on YouTube on my channel, Thad Robbins, without any spaces. And I've put stuff on there for a long while now, not consecutively or consistently, but not being on Facebook anymore, I realized that this is the best place for me to put anything. I did put about 10 minute or so talks. I put it on Facebook. I made it public about the things that I felt were most important to me after I felt as though I was going to die. And after that awakening, I did that. And maybe someday I can get them and put them on this channel. I still think each one of them are the quintessential Thad Robbins. So I didn't know what to say. I had so many things in my mind, based on what I've said before, and I was trying to practice my guitar and think and listen to stuff on the you basically use YouTube and to in place of my watching TV or something. Haven't really watched TV for live TV or whatever for a long time, but they do have it on my new smart TV. But anyway, so I stayed up till 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I began feeling somewhat exhausted, and I knew I laid down, and I woke up again at 11. And when I woke up, I had in my mind, part of the poem I wrote to my grandfather and my uncles when my youngest uncle died, Carl and Four Men Standing Tall. And I also woke up with a song in my heart and mind, and I sang it to myself, which I haven't done ever since I've started practicing the guitar. I'd taken one lesson, and the man brought out a sheet. He printed out a sheet for me, and it's the chords G, D, A minor, and C, "Knocking on Heaven's Door" by Bob Dylan. And I thought that was very synchronistic, is a term that people use today to express this kind of phenomena. Comes from Carl Jung, a psychotherapist, psychologist, philosopher, has done a lot of work in what's called depth psychology. And so anyway, I haven't sung that song since I started practicing my chords, like G. And you gotta remember, where your finger placements are. And you make sure you get it on the fret, and give it a good strum. Then D, like sometimes I still have to look, and then up to A minor, and then to C, where you only have to move one finger, but sometimes it's hard to move the finger. And I'm practicing, but I woke up and I was inspired because I actually was singing that song, and I don't know how to strum yet, not by looking at a paper or anything. And but I felt inspired to have a couple hours until my lesson, and I don't feel fully prepared, and I could do better if I would have practiced more. But that being said, I felt inspired, and then and so that's the basis for my talk, and it came right now, and it comes through an inspiration that I slept on it. After I was exhausted, I slept on it, and then I, dreamed a little, and when I woke up, I knew what it was that I wanted to say. And that's the way our subconscious works. It's the way our spirit works. It's the way our soul works. And there's a lot of ways to describe our inner states of being, and they say psychiatry and psychologists have broken it down, and the Bible and people with a Western mindset, also, that we're composed of mind, will, and spirit, and our soul is mind, considered like mind, will, and emotions, and then the spirit is something that God has given us to carry us on in this life. And inspiration is considered from God, and Joseph Campbell, when I was when I got out of the Navy, my chaplain wrote me a letter, and he told me to follow my bliss, and that's a term that comes from Joseph Campbell, who is probably my lifetime the greatest expositor of mythology, and could really bring the mythologies of the world to bear on anybody that listened to him. And not just one mythology, not just the Christian mythology, but also the mythologies of Buddhism, or Muslim theologies, or Hindu mythologies, and the writings from the ancient thinkers that were closer to a time of being as societies in the world, and tribes, and niches in time. And what they have had to say is, as I said before, really coinciding a lot now with modern science, the sciences of quantum physics, and not just Newtonian law. You know, it used to be, it started out, everything starts out precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. And we grow, not only as people, but as nations and continents and the world. So I, part of my inspiration, I bought this Smithsonian Atlas, and it came with this National Geographic thing, it's for 8-year-olds. I think it says in here somewhere, like 8 years and up, something like that. Somewhere it says that. Oh, well, right there, 8+. My granddaughter Adelaide is probably about 8 now, because my dogs are all about 8 or 9, and they were born, a lot of them, right a couple days before or after my granddaughter Adelaide was born. So I know how old she is, and her brothers, which I can't really remember, and sister, their names precisely. I think I suggested the name Liam to my daughter. I think my grandson Liam, I think where he got his name from. I think it was my idea. I don't know for sure. Maybe it was 2 ships passing in the night, stopping off for a rendezvous, and that's where the name came from. And my granddaughter, youngest, I never seen her except a picture before I left Facebook. But and then I know William. I think his name was something else, and they changed it to Williams. I don't remember all the facts. But and of course, Bryson. I'm thinking about it, and my inspiration is that maybe someday I might be able to go over, the parts of the world in books and fun little projects from National Geographic. But anyway, just wanted to. These are object lessons, kind of, for inspiration. How I feel inspired sometimes. And I was thinking, about things that were important to me. Like, my father, the Bible was like the spirit to him, and enthusiasm. and my inspiration when I was a kid. I took it, from the people I knew, who were to me as the hands of God. Forming my excitement for life. Well, enthusiasm. The word enthusiasm, from the etymology. If you do word studies or anything, or read the dictionary, and it even tell you the source and the beginnings of words, and how it is that we come to use them like they are being used today. And it's through language that we, categorize and make things in an intelligible format that can be understood. Precept upon precept, line upon line, and we learn words when we're kids, and we learn how to read, and that builds the structure for our thinking. But the reason I'm interested in the globe And I have a globe on order too, because I was thinking, well, I can't have any grandchildren come to my house and not have a globe. That would be an abomination. Because, like when I was a chaplain, I had a fellow chaplain buddy who said, well, he was talking to me about something like, the world is his oyster. And it's a small world. And, the world and where we're from actually is our oyster. It makes us think the way we think. I don't think like a person that was raised in China thinks. The Chinese, they have the Tao. They don't have the Bible. The Tibetan monks. I've been listening to the, stuff drawn from the Book of the Dead, the Bardo Todas, or something like that. But the Bardo is the place of in between heaven and earth. Well, they did a lot of nobody in history probably has revered death more than the Tibetans. And it's through revering death that we learn how to live. One person said one time that the point of life is that we die. And so, I come to my age, and like I said, I'm being squeezed out like a sponge now, and I want to squeeze myself out because, it's yesterday's dirt, yesterday's water, but it's how I did it. And my challenges aren't going to be your challenges. Your challenges might be way bigger than anything I've ever faced. It may be that you might be able to draw upon something that your grandpa said. I hope so. And I'm at 17 minutes. I'm going to stop this one, and I'm going to go on.